Salam sejahtera and a very good day to Dr. Surani. My name is Loo Jing Lin, Matric number 199181. Today, I would like to present about current issue on production of high fructose corn syrup. Before I start my presentation, I would like to ask everyone a simple question. Do you know what is high fructose corn syrup, HFCS? HFCS is a liquid sweetener alternative to sucrose, and it's a mixture of glucose and fructose, where the combination of these two monosaccharides will produce sucrose, which means that HFCS is a sucrose. But the main difference between sucrose and HFCS is that sucrose is a natural sugar, but HFCS is an artificial sugar made from corn syrup. There are three types of HFCS, which are type 90, type 42, and type 55. HFCS is cheaper, sweeter, and easier to handle than sucrose. HFCS is applied in food and beverages industry nowadays too. There are two steps to produce HFCS from raw corn. First, recover cornstarch from raw corn by wet milling. Second, chemical and enzymatic hydrolysis of cornstarch to corn syrup. The upstream process that involved in the HFCS production is fermentation process to produce enzymes that should be used in the HFCS production, such as alpha amylase, glucoamylase, and glucose isomerase. Before the fermentation, we need to select the bacterial strain. Bacillus thuringiensis is selected after undergoing the bacterial isolation, and later the selected bacterial strain is inoculated in neutral brew followed by the incubation. Next, we need to prepare substrates and fermentation media, and not forget to sterilize the fermentation media in order to avoid any contamination. After fermentation, enzymes produced can be used in the HFCS production later on. The downstream processes that involve in the HFCS production are recovery, concentration, purification, and polishing. In the wet milling process, where the cornstarch is produced from the raw corn, screening process is first used to remove debris from the raw corn, then stepping is used to disturb and soften the corn kernels. Later, we need to grind the softened corn in a mill, and the germ that is free should be removed by the centrifugation. The remaining mixture of starch, gluten, fiber, and grain is finely ground and washed, and a series of screens is used to separate the starch and gluten from the fiber and grain. Later, high-speed cyclone separators are used to separate heavier starch from the lighter gluten. Lastly, starch washing is used to remove gluten and solubles from starch stream, and the starch granules are then dried and allowed storage. Next, we proceed to the HFCS production from the cornstarch. First process, which is liquefaction, where alpha amylase hydrolyzes the cornstarch to dextrin and oligosaccharides. Later, glucoamylase breaks down the dextrin and oligosaccharides to glucose via the saccharification. Next, saccharification solution is filtered to remove protein and then purified using activation carbon and demineralized using ion exchange reacing. Next, first, evaporation is used to concentrate the solution. Later, isomerization, where glucose isomerase converts the glucose to fructose and again demineralized and purified using activated carbon. Some glucose is processed to HFCS type 90 by liquid chromatography and mixed with HFCS type 42 to form HFCS type 55. Next, we proceed to the current issues. The first issue, which is the consumption of too much HFCS, will contribute to high calorie intake and leads to obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Second issue, possible contamination of HFCS with mercury during processing. This is because the caustic soda used in the HFCS production is made by a plant that uses mercury cells. The last issue, which is the possible toxicity of HFCS and its byproducts to honeybees. It is proven that HFCS will form its byproducts, which is hydroxymethyl furfural, at temperatures higher than 45 degrees Celsius, and the byproduct is very toxic to honeybees. That's all from me. Thank you.